to run it a little bit. They were banged up at linebacker last week with both Barr and Kendrick. So we'll see if they're playing this week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would lean toward, you know, playing all of Minnesota skill players in this game, though.
As per usual.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to. They're good.
They're good. It's really amazing to see how efficient Cousins has been this year. I mean, this is not the Cousins we saw last year, that's for sure.
No, and Thielen hasn't been nearly the factor. Now he's hurt, obviously. Right. But even when he wasn't, Jefferson has taken over as the top running back on that top wide receiver on that team. And Cook has been in and out a lot. Now, Madison, I believe, is a guy that also has COVID or is on the protocol anyway, I should say. So hopefully, you know, as long as Cook stays healthy, he was going to play anyway. But now his backup may not be there. So you might even see more from Dalvin Cook in this game. It's a Monday night game. You know, it's, in Chicago. Weather could be a factor, and that's the thing you have to watch for. So if you're playing fantasy and you're not sure about a guy, and it's a Monday night game, check that weather report all day Saturday, before the Saturday games kick off and stuff like that. Because if you're sitting there in a driving cold or snowstorm and they're going to be running the ball all night, and you're sitting there with anybody besides Jefferson in this game, you're freaking crazy.
Yeah,
I mean. You saw what the Patriots did in Buffalo. They threw the ball 3 times.
Unbelievable.
And they won. Weather will start being a factor every week, and especially here in the playoffs, you got to watch for it. It's going to be really interesting. Giants, Cowboys, I mean, what are they saying about Daniel Jones? When are they expecting this kid back?
It depends who you ask. Judge, why are you even considering trying to get any of these guys back? I mean, if he does have structural issues with his neck, let him ride out the rest of the season. Let him get it worked on, get it fixed. See if you have a quarterback next year with him.
Is he the guy you want though for next year, or would you draft a quarterback in that first round?
I would. Not in the first round. Who's there? Who's there?
Listen, every year we don't know who's there. It's going to be interesting to see who it is. Somebody will sit there and and spin the ball beautifully like Zach Wilson did, where he's tantalizingly great for the Jets.
But you know what? I think every single one of the quarterbacks that were picked in the first round last year are better than the ones that are that could go in the first round this year. And there's just too many better players. There's defensive ends. There's linemen. There's so many people that are available that's going to improve your team more than that quarterback.
The funny part is you watch the NFL, right? And there was a decent amount of quarterbacks taken in the first round this year. And none of them look all that impressive this year. Doesn't mean that they won't be better as you go. Trevor Lawrence does not look great. Zach Wilson does not look great. Justin Fields certainly does not look great. There are a lot of quarterbacks that are, tough to read, so to speak.
Right.
Even the quarterbacks from last year, like Herbert looks great. He's the guy that stands out to you, right? But
Absolutely.
Tua, even though he's completed all these passes, you wonder how he's going to be in a spot where he has to be able to bring a team back from 10 down in the fourth.
He couldn't break a balloon with a dart, man.
No, exactly. He throws a lollipop, but he's accurate as hell. And the quarterbacks from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or what is it, even 4 now, I guess, with Darnold and Rosen, who's not really a factor at all. Lamar Jackson, the guy that was taken 5th, is the best one statistically. I mean, maybe Josh Allen and him. So I'd say those 2 guys.
Right.
So that's kind of where we sit. So it's weird when you think about quarterbacks in the draft. You just don't know what you're going to get. And, I agree with you. I think you build on your lines. I mean, look at Washington, right? I mean, they lose their best player theoretically, by name only, in Chase Young.
Mm-hmm.
But that defensive front is still so strong.
Right.
And their O-line, when Sheriff is healthy, which is, half the time, is pretty good, where they become competitive with a quarterback that no one expected anything out of. He wasn't supposed to be the starter. Building those lines is crucial.
To me, it's everything. I mean, you're more in tune with everything that's going on. But for me, watching the great Giant games, the great Giant teams, they had great linemen on both sides of the ball.
That's what makes them stand out. I agree with you.
But we'll see what happens. So if you want to get this fantastic podcast, it's available everywhere for the most part. So find it, Fantasy Fat Guys. It was weird. I was thinking a couple of weeks ago because I saw like 8 Fantasy Fat Guy shows. Now, none of them have been on for like the last couple of years. So is it the name?
A bunch of fat people that can't play a sport, so we like to talk about it? Perhaps.
But everybody keeps using the same name because I was thinking, well, maybe it's time to change. And then you keep seeing, by the way, I told you that I keep getting these messages saying that we're the number, 83rd best sports podcast out of 82. And nobody got back to me on Facebook.
And the funny thing is, like, it's like I'm my parents' fourth favorite child out of 3,
which is fantastic.
Just the way it works out,
feels good.
Makes you feel special. Good. Makes you feel solid inside.
Solid. Oh, I am so warm inside right now. But
class act.
So without any further ado, I think we're done. If you want to write to us on Facebook, do it. But you haven't done it yet. So
about anything in sports or, pop culture, because Bill's a maven.
Absolutely.
Powers knows everything there is to know about everything.
Oh, Miley Cyrus, man. It's like she's like coming at you like a wrecking ball, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, very, very apropos.
So that puts a little bow on this week's edition of Fantasy Fat Guys. With that said, it is time for us to bid you adieu.
Good night, Irene.
Good night, Irene. That comes later.